Alright guys, so for you Apple fans out there, you'll probably already know what this is just by looking at the box itself. But everybody else though, it's not a problem. This is my new primary driver, the MacBook 2016 edition. So for you guys who don't know, I have two other Macs. I have a MacBook Pro Retina display, which came out in 2012, so it was the first edition. And I also have a 5K iMac. Now, 5K iMac I've sold to my mom, so she'll be now taking that off my hands. Just because I didn't feel I used it a lot, and for the price I paid, I think it deserves a lot of use. So that's now, not part of my current lineup. The MacBook Pro Retina display, I cannot fault it. It's been a fantastic piece of kit. Still love it, it's probably going to keep it. There is a slight annoying issue with it, where the battery indicator doesn't seem to know what battery capacity it's got anymore, so it will kind of stay at 1%, so it'll say like 99%, but doesn't actually move. I have to keep doing various resets with it, which can get quite annoying. So power resets, which I have to do Command and Option and Shift and the power button, which resets the power management chip. Then it kind of kicks into action. It will then know how long, how much it's got. But I'm finding I'm having to keep doing that to kind of get an option how long my battery's going to last now. And I've had it since 2012. A bit disappointing. I thought it would, keep going with no issues, but still can use it. Apart from that annoying issue, it is a dream. Works fantastically. But for me, I do a fair amount of travelling. So when I go home to the Midlands, go abroad, when I'm in the house, just want to, whip out the laptop and know how much battery I've got, which is, is correct, and then I can plan for that. So if I've got a little bit of battery left, I know, etc., etc. Whereas at the moment, on the MacBook Pro, it will just go, unfortunately, without me knowing. So I decided to pick this up. It's an interesting choice. There's a lot of questions around this MacBook, various reasons we'll go into later on. But for me, this is absolutely fine. I don't need a power horse. I just need a nice, reliable laptop with lots of battery life. And this, the range, has got one of the best ones, along with the MacBook Air. I've seen this when it came out. I fell in love with it when it came out. I thought it was such a beautiful piece of kit, considering it's how big it is. So I decided before I went abroad, I'd pick one up at my local Curry's PC World. It was £50 off. So these retail at $1299. So I went for that higher capacity without configuring it via Apple. And we'll go through the specs in just a second. Now I have took the plastic off just because I did quickly have a look at it just as I come out of the store to make sure it was working, power on and stuff like that before I left the store, just because I live a fair distance away from it and it's just not worth it. It's quite a big distance. So plastic is off, but everything else is fine. I'll put it back how it was, but again, this is as good as it's going to get. So we'll just quickly around the box. There is the branding. MacBook, I went for the space grey. So just like the iPhone 6 and the 6S range, these come in space grey, silver and gold. Now my preferred choice would have been silver, but I didn't have any, so I went for the space grey, which is still fine, still very good colour. So that's what I've got, hence what's in space grey there. So as I said, the MacBook on the front, on the box, just shows you the lid closed, facing towards you. It's got a very thin profile. Again, on the other side, just MacBook, nothing there. Now, if we look on the side there, this is where all the things happen. So I'll cover the serial number. Obviously, there's your barcode, what have you. Now, that's the model code. So A1534. Spec-wise, MB, so MacBook 12-inch, space grey, 1.2 GHz processor, 8 GB of memory, and 512. Obviously built-in SSD there, and obviously various things like the MAC address. But to the spec itself, so this is where all the magic happens. So we have got a 12. What I'll do, actually, just put that there. We've got a 12-inch, obviously MacBook with Retina display, which looks stunning. We've got obviously 1.2 gigahertz dual-core Intel Core M5. So this is not part of the i series. This is their lower powered, processors there, because this is a fanless laptop, so there is no fan, which again is fine. I don't do that much when it's doing Final Cut Pro. It does a pretty good job, I've watched. So 8GB of memory. So this is a slight revision from the 2015 edition. This does come with faster memory and a slight upgrade on the processors there, but again it's fine. 512GB of onboard flash storage. So when I bought my Retina display last, obviously in 2012, I had 256. Now for the most part that was fine. But obviously over the years as I've consumed more media, 4K videos and that, I thought I'd go for the higher storage now, as it's not like a Windows computer where you can just whip out the hard drive. They are built to order, so you can't upgrade them. Built-in graphics, so a HD graphics 515. I don't do gaming, so that's absolutely fine. And obviously a headphone, microphone jack, stereo speakers. Over the other side, we've obviously got built-in wireless AC. Now that's pretty cool, because again, that is something my Retina Mac lacked. Now I have Infinity 1, which is 52 megabits per second with a Home 5 here in the UK, which does have built-in wireless AC. That's great because I can now utilise that, whereas on the other one I didn't. We've got obviously Bluetooth 4.0 as well, which I do use quite a lot to connect to my Bose speaker when I'm in the shower or whatever and stream music. That's great. FaceTime camera, a bit of a disappointment. It's only a 420p camera, but again I've seen footage of it, and it is, it's still fine, which is cool. So obviously backlit keyboard with ambient light sensor. Now one of the big differences with this compared to the rest of the range, which also obviously include a backlit keyboard, is these are individually lit LEDs. So it's not like a strip which lights the keys. They are individually lit, so they do look a lot better. Pre-installed OS X, so El Capitan is obviously the latest and greatest. This will come with it, but obviously, because I think this was actually made in May 2016, so this should have the latest edition, but obviously when I go into the App Store, there'll probably be some updates, but that's fine. So that's the spec itself of the Mac, so it's pretty decent for what I paid for it. With the £50 off, it is very reasonable and will be more than enough for my needs. I don't do a great deal power-wise. I will be doing a bit of video editing 4K, as this is filmed in 4K on my Sony AX53 100 megabits per second, so that's more than enough to cope with that. So we're going to open up the device now and have a look around and see what's what. Okay, so obviously with the plastic off, we just gently lift up the lid. I've done this many times, bit of suction, and then the grand reveal. So I'll put that box aside for just a moment. So obviously the Mac is always on top, which is great. Pull this tab up, we'll just put that to the side just for a second then. So obviously that is the main talking point. So in the box we have very little. We basically have instructions. Who reads these? No, jokes aside, these are great for people who have never had a Mac before, because it shows you the basics you need to know. But as I am a Mac user anyway, it's exactly the same. So obviously MacBook, information, and obviously space grey stickers. So they're unusual. So you only, obviously, whatever Mac you decide to get, you will obviously get the corresponding stickers. So obviously if you get the space grey, you'll get space grey. Silver, then silver, and then everybody loves, for some reason, I can't stand it, I think it looks horrible, the gold. And also, I've just remembered while I was doing this, obviously there is a pinky one. I know they call it rose gold, but that's where I think it is gold. So obviously we've got our USB Type-C adapter. It looks just like an iPad adapter, but obviously it's got a very unique port on it. It's the USB Type-C. Obviously, because I'm in the UK, I get a 3-pin plug. Job done. So it's not a very powerful one, but it doesn't need to be because of the spec. But 20 watts USB Type-C power adapter. That's pretty cool. Nice and discreet. So that's that. And obviously here we have the USB Type-C cable. So we'll just unwrap this. I think it's about 1.5 meters. There we go. Right. Untangle that bad boy. So this is, if you've never seen one before, a USB Type-C cable. It's reversible, so it's pretty cool. And yeah, it goes obviously in one end here. We'll just line that up, pop it in. There we go. Now it's annoying because it's not MagSafe, So one of the big features back in the day was you trip over your cable, the MagSafe just comes in quite nicely. And this does actually require a fair tug. You can hit clip in, does require a bit, so it has got to be a bit like a clip mechanism, but you can put it in any way you want, which is pretty cool. So that's those kind. That is literally all you get in the box, guys. So instruction pack and the adapter and cable. That's fine. That is it. So put the box aside. Obviously come to the device itself. Now, obviously it's wrapped in this plastic here, so I'm just going to unwrap that. So you just flip it over, pull it, and voila, there is the MacBook itself. So one feature, if you like, which is well known if you have a Mac, which has been removed, which is a little disappointing because I love it, is this. Now this is the logo you get. So the other Macintoshes have basically a cutout on the back where the backlight shines through and shows you that white Apple symbol. I love it. There's something about it. I just think it's cool. That is one sacrifice, unfortunately, I had to make to get the screen and the body as thin as possible, basically. But that's fine, you know. You have to kind of sacrifice something to get this. But what you gain then is fantastic because it's so thin. But obviously on the top, you've got your Apple logo facing down. On the side, now as you can see, this is how thin it is. If I put my finger against it, it is like the width of my finger nearly. It's so thin. So, obviously on the side here, we've got the USB Type-C connector there. So that's where all your interface comes into it. That's where you charge your MacBook as well. Obviously going down towards the front of the screen, obviously the thinner and thinner it gets. There is nothing else on the front. Obviously you've got a little indent there, so you can put your finger there and pull the screen up, and away you go. On the other side, again, just like the MacBook Air, thin, goes a little bit thicker at the back. And this is all we've got. So we've got microphone inputs there, so dual microphone inputs, and a 3.5mm jack, which is for your headphones and your microphone. On the back, we've got literally nothing else but the screen. And obviously on the bottom of the unit, we've got obviously 4 of these kind of pads which raise it off the ground slightly, so you don't scratch the bottom. And obviously the various markings here by Apple, which obviously includes your serial number as well. So we'll quickly look at the power input there. So it just states basically that it is 14.5 volts and 2 amps, so not very powerful at all. So that basically means you can actually use a power pack to charge this device, which is cool. So if you're running low on juice, you can just whip this out. So if we open up the keyboard now, there is the screen cover, and voila, we are there. So I quickly use this just to make sure it powered up, so that this normally will stick to your screen, you peel it off. But for the purpose of me testing everything before I got back to Sidmouth, I have taken it off. So obviously you can see straight away it has got a full-sized keyboard, which is pretty cool in a 12-inch device. It's got a full QWERTY keyboard. It's got a UK keyboard, obviously for me here. You know it's a UK keyboard because the American one here would say caps lock. So everything else is the same. Obviously it's got a beautiful looking keyboard. I love the fact that the escape's slightly longer. Obviously power top right. And like I said, the keyboard's cool. Now, one of the big hypes about this is to get the keyboard so flush with the device and as thin as possible. Apple actually had to develop a new kind of key mechanism. So it's a butterfly. Now, there isn't a lot of travel, so if you hear here, it's quite a quiet keyboard, which is cool. And it does take a little bit of getting used to compared to a normal Mac, because on a normal Mac, there is quite a bit of travel on the key. These do not press down that much, but you get used to it fairly quickly. Now, the trackpad itself is quite large compared to the actual MacBook itself. When I was having to play in the Mac store, I had to kind of readjust where my hand's put, because I tend to rest my hand ever so slightly on this bit here, because there is literally it's a very little gap. I kept finding I was right-clicking every now and again, but after a couple of minutes of playing around, I then got used to it. It's not a problem now. So this is a force touch as well, just like an iPhone 6S. So the harder you press, the more it does, kind of thing. Now up here, you can see there is grills on the top there. that is where your speakers lie. And you would be surprised how good the speakers are in this piece of kit. When we was testing it in Birmingham the other day, when I got back from the airport, I was actually really astonished how clear and how well it sounded. I was expecting quite, I thought, they're going to have to take a shortcut somewhere, and one of them was going to be sadly the speakers, which is annoying because I listened to it quite a lot, but I was so wrong. It sounds very similar to my MacBook Pro, so I'll test that in a bit. It sounds really good. And obviously, one thing I do like, I don't know why, it's little things like this I really miss. We have obviously got the MacBook logo there on the screen. So on the MacBook Air, you've got the branding, but on the MacBook Pro with Retina display, you don't have anything at the bottom. So that's pretty cool to have. And obviously, bezel-wise, there is a very little bezel on this. There is a bezel, obviously, but no plastic bezel, but you can see it when you use it. So we're going to turn it on now. And have a look what the screen quality is like. Just get a gist of the sound as well. And yeah, we'll go from there and put the ports in and show you what that looks like. Okay, so while I was off camera, I have set the device up just because everybody knows what an out-of-box experience looks like with a Mac. So I have already set up, but this is a speed test. Show you how quick it goes, and I've got the disk, obviously speed test benchmark. By Blackmagic, just to show you the read and write speeds of this. So this was set up new. This wasn't done by a Time Machine backup. I have set it up brand new. So let's turn it on and find out. So there's the first bit of speaker you've heard, and it sounds really good from here. Hopefully the camera relates that, it sounds pretty cool. So obviously here it is loading the operating system, doing what we call post, checking everything's okay. So here is me, so I'll just pop that password in there. Oh, always get it wrong the first time. And we are in. So fairly quick, once it gets to the login screen, it is very quick to get going. Now the screen quality on this obviously is a 12-inch device, is fantastic, and that's what I'm pretty much used to anyway. So obviously I have a MacBook Pro with Retina display, so I'm used to the high pixel density and what have you, and Macs really do pull it off really well. I've used Windows devices which kind of have it built in and they just don't seem to scale very well. So what we'll do, we'll zoom into some of the icons and just see if the 4K camera will pick it up relatively well. Right, let's have a go. So if we zoom into the messages icon there, let's just see if it picks it up. So you can see now, oh, a bit too much, back a little bit. Even the camera has issues sometimes focusing it, so you can see how crisp and clear those icons are, and they really are a credit to the screen. It is brilliant. So you can see all those individual pixels there, but like I said, the resolution on here is absolutely mad. If we go on about this Mac and have a quick look, the display itself puts out 2304 times 1440. So this is a 16 by 10 screen. Which is unusual. So most laptops will have a 16 by 9 screen, but the MacBook is rocking a 16 by 10 screen, which is fine. So everything looks really, really cool. So if we look at the spec, you can see obviously OS X El Capitan version 10.11.5, which is the latest one. Obviously it's the Retina 12-inch early 2016 edition, which is the latest revision. Obviously 1.2 GHz Intel Core M5. Obviously we've got 8 GB of 1867 MHz low power DDR3 memory there. Because obviously the idea of this is to be kind of as efficient as possible to get the most battery out of it. And obviously, like I said, it's rocking the Intel HD graphics 515 with 1.5 GB of GDDR megabytes of RAM there for it to play with. And as I say, display wise, that's what we're rocking. So it's pretty good. For quality wise, I can't fault it. It looks just like my Retina Mac. It is absolutely spot on. That's cool. And then we go along to storage. Like I said, I've got the 512 variant of this. Obviously, you can get whatever one suits you at the time, but I wanted as much as possible. And obviously, support and services is where you go if you need help with your Mac. Okay guys, just before I end this video I wanted to show you the sound capability. So I've downloaded a song off YouTube which is has no, obviously everything's fine but it's not copyrighted, and we'll just test the speaker itself. So I'm going to just play it instead of importing it via iTunes. As you can see guys, it's got a nice set of speakers on it. So yeah, now what we're going to do is show you the speed of the Mac's built-in SSD. So Mac HD. So let me just quit out of it so then it goes back to its default drive. Cool, so we're going to just do 1 gigabit per second. So you can see it's that quick, it doesn't quite have time to kind of show the correct speed. So what I'm going to do now is pause it and put it on a 5 gigabyte package, and then we'll get a true reflection. So as you can see, it goes directly off the scales to 800 megabits per second on that read. And then on the right, read is nearly a gigabit per second, and the write is nearly a gigabit per second. So you can see the built-in SSD on this MacBook is superb. It's so quick. It's more than quick enough for everything that I need to do. I reckon if we left it longer, it probably might topple over that, nearly a gigabit per second. As you can see, it's off the chart kind of stuff. It's really, really quick. So I'm really impressed. So this is more than capable of rendering video, and the speed of the hard drive itself is not going to slow down. It'll be more the processor. So guys, hopefully that's quite in depth for you. That is the speed test results of various equipment going through a hub. Highly recommended this hub. It does get quite warm, but I don't think that's anything to be concerned with. But yeah, this has been a look at the MacBook 2016 edition. Yeah, any issues or anything else you would like to know about it, let me know in the comments and I will try and address them as best I can. Just to let you know, this whole video will be edited on here, because as you can see, I have Final Cut Pro on here, and it loads again in quite a respectable speed. If I stop that now, give it a chance to pop up. Things do open fairly quickly, which I would expect, because again, the hard drive itself is more than equipped to deal with it. And yeah, this will all be edited on this machine. So in conclusion guys, in my opinion, I think this is a great bit of kit and is more than plucky enough to keep up with demands. Obviously it's never going to be as good as an i7, or it's never going to be as good as my Retina display, even though it is 4 years newer, because it hasn't got the proper things like proper, laptop processor in it, Core i7, nearly 3 gigahertz and a dedicated GPU. But this has been fantastic, and all the footage you're going to see and record is edited on this bad boy. So thanks for watching.